Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer, the DRF race of the day for Sunday, July the 31st, race number 9 at Del Mar. It's the Grade 2 Eddie Reed. $250,000 is the purse. We're going 1 1/8 for 3-year-olds and upward. Want to view free Formulator past performances for this race? Head to the Race of the Day page at DRF.com. Don't forget to subscribe to the Daily Racing Form YouTube channel and bet this card with DRF Bets. Let's take a peek at this field. It is a full field. Scan the QR code for Race of the Day access on your mobile devices. And Mike, I think it's a pretty wide open race. You do have Beyond Brilliant, who looks like the speed, coming off a victory in the Charlie Whittingham, going 1 1/4. He's going to have to cut back here to 1 1/8, and he's going to have to do it off about a 3-month layoff.
Yeah, I mean, listen, that horse certainly can win. His last 2 races are both pretty good, but a lot of different horses could win here, Dan. As you mentioned, this race sort of handicaps wide open. Trips feel like they're going to be very, very important here.
As we thought the Time Form US Pace Projector, I think the #1 Master of Foxhounds is the kind of horse that can work out the trip Time Form US projects. He does have that tactical speed. He does have the inside post position, and you can argue he's a bit underrated. I do think Beyond Brilliant's going to go to the lead. The 6 There Goes Harvard is cross-entered, of course, in the San Diego on Saturday. If he scratches, please visit timeformus.com. After scratches are made official, this pace projector will update. If he scratches, I think Beyond Brilliant goes to the front. I think Master of Foxhound sits just off it. Keep an eye on Tango, the number of 5. He can be close.
Yeah, he can be close too. I think you're right with Master of Foxhounds, though. I feel like being drawn to the inside with his kind of tactical speed could just really lead to a good trip for this horse. And I'm not so sure that 1 1/8 may not be the perfect distance for him too. Obviously, he can do just about anything. He's run well at 1 mile. He's run well at 1 3/8, 1.5 miles, 1 1/4. It doesn't really matter, but he's going to get a good trip in this race, it seems. 2 starts back, he couldn't catch Beyond Brilliant when that horse went to the lead, and Master Foxhound sat second all the way, but he ran fine that day, and he came back and ran well again last time.
I agree as we start our discussion with Master of Foxhounds. He's only raced 3 times this year. In his first start off of a lengthy layoff, he set a legitimate pace, and he was run down by a pretty good horse, Vanzi. They then ran him in the Charlie Whittingham. You talked about that race. He tried very hard. He just couldn't get to Beyond Brilliant. And last time out in the Shoemaker Mile, that trip just didn't really work out for him.
It didn't. I mean, I think I don't know if it's fair to say that, he was going to win that race. Certainly he was going to be closer, though. He just got shuffled out of it behind a long shot around the final turn. And by the time he got himself back out into the clear again, the race was basically over. He ran fine in there. This horse is a little bit underrated.
Phil D'Amato's done a nice job with cash equity. He brought this horse over from France. He gave him plenty of times. He's run him twice in the States. He was rewarded with this victory, second level allowance, going 1 1/4 back in May. And cash equity showed good speed. He got right up close to the pace. The pace wasn't very fast, and he sprinted on home as many European horses will do. He is going to have to cut back to 1 1/8. I'm not worried about that. He just seems like a horse that could be coming into his own.
Yeah, I do agree with that. I feel like he could take another step forward here. I also kind of feel like he's going to have to do that. That win we just watched was fine. It wasn't the most impressive win in the world off of a perfect trip, but he did run fine. His race off the layoff, he just didn't get out of the gate that well. And he was only second best to Hong Kong here, but he ran fine in there. I feel like if I liked his European form a little more, I might have had him higher.
Yeah, he certainly wasn't facing the big guns over there in France, although you could even say the listed stakes horses in France are very good or even comparable to some of our grade 3 types. The Eddie Reed is a grade 2 and a very competitive one at that. Looking at your Formulator past performances, and they are free with Race of the Day access. Phil D'Amato's a great trainer, but Lasix off has not been a good move for him, so it's something perhaps to bear watching. Beyond Brilliant is the #3, and he broke through as the favorite last time out in this race, the Charlie Whittingham. He was stretching out from 1 mile to 1 1/4. He was the expected speed. He carved out some legitimate fractions in this race, Mike, and he holds a game Master of Foxhounds at bay all the way down to the wire.
True enough. I mean, he wasn't walking on the lead, but he was loose. And so that's a big advantage for a horse like him. And he's just never really going to let Master of Foxhounds get into this race. Clearly best in a race where those two horses went 1-2 around the track, Dan, and they had the best of it in there with no closing going on. Even his Kilroe, though, was a pretty good performance. I mean, he went a legitimate pace that day as well against some really nice horses.
Equivin kept good company without much success in France in 2021. He's had 3 starts for the great Richard Mandela this year, and he's sort of had middling success in his 2 prior starts against graded stakes competition. Maybe not the best trips both times, but his running style just puts him way behind the 8 ball in terms of he must get race and pace luck.
Exactly. He's going to need this thing to set up for him, and maybe it will. There are plenty of horses in here who could go forward and make sure this pace goes. You know, he ran fine last time. I guess they just ultimately left him with too much to do. They took him right back to last. He was still at the back coming to the stretch, and he tried to race on, but he wasn't going to make an impact there. I felt like his first start in this country was actually an underrated performance. I thought he ran pretty well that day. So I have a little bit of a thing for this horse, and if he's a big price, I'll probably try to get him in there somewhere.
Jack Sisterson is an underrated trainer for Calumet, and he's got the 5 Tango, Tango, Tango. He is 2 for 3 this year. He has a win at 1.25 miles. Distance isn't going to be an issue. Let's watch his last race, the Dinner Party. It was a race that didn't feature a ton of pace, and Tyler Gaffalione, who was riding him that day, got him into a great spot in behind the leader in the pocket. He eases out. He has a look at this. He's eventually going to get past the front runner, who's a decent horse at tone, but set piece is just a better animal than he is.
Yeah, he just got run over in the stretch of this race off of a pretty good trip too. It was a new top figure for this horse, another step in the right direction for him as a, you know, still lightly raced 4-year-old. Those are all good signs. I just don't think this horse is very good.
Trainer Michael McCarthy has a choice to make. Does he run in the Gold Cup against the likes of Country Grammar, or does he run in this turf race? He seems equally good on each surface. Let's watch his most recent turf start. This is the race preceding his upset victory in the Grade 1 Gold Cup. This is a 2-turn mile event, and again, he showed nice tactical speed. He wins very easily. The figure came back strong. He backed it up with the win in the Gold Cup. It'll be very interesting to see which race he goes in, and in any race he goes in, he's going to be a contender.
He is. I like this performance from him. I thought it was a real step in the right direction because he did run fine in his 2 turf starts as a 3-year-old. I just didn't love either one of those races. I did really think he improved in that one we just watched. And then, of course, he improved again on dirt last time. So it feels like he's coming into this in really good form.
We could look at the number 7 King Cause and just draw a line through that race 2 starts back. The Fort Marcy, a race just won over a swampy turf course where he didn't fire at all. He's a little bit better than a 4-buyer speed figure animal. He returned in his most recent start at Parks in one of the match series races, and we see him tracking in behind horses here. He's going to finish in okay 3rd. This is a step up in class, however. No disrespect to the horses running in the match series. King Cause ran okay. I think he will appreciate the firmer turf in Southern California.
I think he will too. This horse has come back off a very long layoff at the end of last year, Dan. He's actually run really well in all of the starts. I mean, say they tried him on dirt. There's that boggy course that you talked about 2 starts back. And then when he didn't get the 1.5 miles either back at Gulfstream in January. But other than that, all of his performances are solid, and he's got tactical speed.
Homer Screen, the number 8, a Group 2 winner in his native Brazil, goes out for Team Valor and Neil Drysdale. This horse just looks like he's going the right way. They've given him 2 starts this year, one a down-the-hill sprint where I think was nothing more than a prep race. They stretched him out in the American. He came with a good run, and I don't mind stretching him out again 1.125 miles. I think he has enough pedigree to get this distance.
Seems like he does. We'll see if he can work out the right trip in here. He ran fine in the American last time, Dan. I also felt like, though, he kind of got the right trip there because they took him back, and that pace was pretty solid. I mean, Hong Kong Harry got the best trip in the race, but that pace was solid. So this horse had something to run at, and he was running at the end of that race. So, you know, maybe he is just heading the right way, but I feel like he's going to need some help one more time. He got help last time. I think he's going to need it again.
Let's talk about Hong Kong Harry. He is 3 for 3 in North America for Mr. D'Amato, and he got that graded win in his graded stakes debut in North America. Let's watch the American. You mentioned the trip that Hong Kong Harry had. He was able to tuck in behind. He gets to the outside. He's going to go after Tarantino, who right now is in between horses, and he'll hold off Homer Screen. This horse does have the tactical ability to get these kind of good trips often, though.
Yeah, I mean, he's 3 for 3 since they got him over here, and he's gotten great trips in all 3 of those races. It feels like it's really his calling card, and it's a big advantage for him, too. He was good in the American last time. That was a really good trip for him, but once they got him to the outside there at the top of the stretch, he got on top of those leaders really quickly and was just much the best at the end. I really like this horse's recent form.
Tarantino, the 10, is an interesting horse for me. Began his career for Bob Baffert, earned a stakes placing on turf going a mile, was sent to Rudy Brissett, and they had him on the Triple Crown Trail in South Florida with some solid efforts in the Holy Bull and the Fountain of Youth. And then they ran him in that synthetic race, the Jeff Ruby. He didn't seem to like it. Something must have gone wrong because he went away for a very, very long time. He was purchased over the fall, $235,000. He's had 2 races back. One on the dirt I'm not interested in. He did a lot of work last time out in the American, Mike. He was pushing a pretty solid pace. The horse that he was pushing finished last, and he held on pretty gamely, all in his first start off a 6-month layoff.
Yeah, I agree with all that stuff. I think it's pretty clear at this point that he's just way better on turf than he is on dirt. They tried it. They tried to make him a dirt horse. It didn't work out. This is his surface, and you're right about his last race. He did all the hard work up on the pace, and he refused to cave in the late stages.
Now, the blinkers are coming off, and I'm hoping that that doesn't mean they're going to try to take him too far back. I think he has enough tactical speed to get close to the pace. Cathkin Peak is another D'Amato horse, and this is a very solid performer. And I like that he was able to win off of a long layoff, his first time against older horses. This is an allowance race at Santa Anita on June the 18th. He was pulling very hard behind a slow pace in the early part, but he gets into the clear, and he does what he has to do to win, and he got a buyer top for this race. He kept very good company last year.
Yeah, he did. They didn't have a lot of respect for him last year, but he kept running well in graded stakes races. And I just feel like he took a big step forward off the layoff last time. I get it. It was a weaker field, and he sat a really nice trip, but he also won that race really easily. I don't know. I liked him last year. I think he even took a step forward last time. This is a tough post, though.
Masterpiece is on the also eligible list. He will run if there is 1 or more scratches. Let's go to our top pick time for the Grade 2 Eddie Reed Stakes. We have outside posts, and the outside posts going a mile and an eighth historically over the Del Mar turf course have not been good, but I think our horses might have the ability and the tactical speed to find good spots. Let's just hope they don't get hung out wide. Cathkin Peak has been basically a model of consistency for most of his career, and he came back firing.
Yeah, I mean, the post is no bargain, obviously, but I feel like both of these horses are going to be fair prices in here. So I'm happy to take a shot. I like this horse. I thought he came back really well off the layoff. I think you maybe picked the most interesting horse in the race. If he can work out some kind of trip. This horse ran deceptively well last time, Tarantino.
That's really the key. I'd like for him to get out of the gate and maybe try to sit a good spot second or third. His last race was okay. We'll see how he does going the mile and an eighth. I think he has enough pedigree for it. 11-9, 10-1 for Mike, 10-11, 5-3 for me. Really good edition of the Grade 2 Eddie Reed. It's the Sunday DRF race of the day. Good luck.